There are 3 uncomfortable truths that the golf industry doesn't want you to know about the driver in your bag and what you're trying to do with it. And today, I'm going to give you the hard facts. I'm going to give you the truth. I'm PGA teaching professional Todd Kolb, Director of Instruction for US Golf TV. And we live in an age where information is king, content is king. That's what we do here at US Golf TV. That's why you are here. But we're also about telling you the truth. We're about telling you the truth for you, the experienced golfer, right? And information that applies to everybody. So let's talk about those. Number one, we're going to talk about the design of the driver. First of all, the length of your driver. We're going to talk about the loft on it. And then we're going to talk about, is distance really the king? Is that the most important thing that the industry would have you to believe? And the good part is, as you always know, when you come here to US Golf TV, I'm going to give you some tips on how to fix these things. So first of all, let's talk about the length of the driver. As years have passed, I've been teaching this game for over 25 years. I've been playing it for over 40 years. And every year, it seems like the drivers get a little longer, and a little longer in length, the shaft length of it, to a point where, you know, at some point I don't know what's gonna happen. But what you need to understand is that as the club gets longer, it gets more difficult to control. So think about this for a second. I got a 9-iron, okay? The length of a 9-iron is different than a driver. Which one is easier to control? Of course the 9-iron is, right? Because it's shorter and it's got more loft on it. So the first thing that I would tell you, one of the uncommon and hard truths is that longer shafts are always better. That's not the case. What actually helps you hit the ball a long ways is hitting the ball in the center of the face. That's why, for example, on the Max Vert, we made the driver a little shorter in length so that you could control it. Let me go ahead and hit a shot, and I'm gonna tell you what you could do with your own driver if you don't have a Max Vert. So here we go. Now this length of this is definitely, it's about a 1/2 inch to a 3/4 of an inch shorter than what I don't even know what standard is anymore. But let me go ahead and hit a shot, and notice the first thing I can tell is because the shaft is a little shorter, much like a 9-iron, I have more club awareness, where the club face is at, where the shaft is at. Let me go ahead and just hit a shot here. Ooh, nice. That popped off the face. So that's tip number one, is don't just assume that a longer shaft is better and that you're gonna hit it a long ways. Because if you don't hit the ball in the center of the face, this spot right here, right where we put the center spot right there on our Max Vert driver, if you don't hit it there, it's not gonna go nearly as far. So what could you do with your normal driver? Well, you can just simply choke down on it. Just make it a little bit shorter by just moving your hands down and choking down on it, and that will help you hit the center of the face, which will actually give you a little bit more distance. All right, now the second unfortunate truth that the industry might have you want to believe is that low loft is better. Like somehow low loft is going to give you more distance. Not the case. What gives you distance is hitting the ball in the center of the face, but more importantly, having the right loft so the ball launches but has low spin. Okay, so I believe for most amateur golfers who swing the club somewhere between their driver, let's say between 90 and 100 miles an hour or mid 80s, give or take a little bit, 11 degrees is a perfect loft. That's what we put on the Max Vert, 11 degrees, because that gets the ball up in the air. All right, a lot of people might say, but with that amount of loft, aren't I gonna spin it? Not if you set up right. So let's talk about that. Let me give you a tip on that. So let's tee another one up. So first of all, if you watch any of our videos here, you know that I like my golfers to tee the ball up so about half the ball is above the top of the club head, right? That's a good neutral spot of where they want it. But the key to bringing some of the spin down is hitting slightly up on the golf ball. So when you're set up and you're set in there, what I want you to do is make sure the ball is kind of forward in your stance. It's one of our core principles in the vertical line swing system. We got a whole chapter on this in the book, The Bad Lie. And if you haven't already, hey, subscribe to the channel, ring that bell, and you know my favorite thing, I love hearing where you're from. Put that in the comments because we're getting a following from all over the globe, all over the world. So when you position the ball with your driver, make sure that it's kind of towards your lead toe. So I'm a right-handed golfer, so I got the ball up off my lead toe right there, off my left toe. And by getting the ball a little bit more forward, that helps me hit slightly up on the golf ball. So let's go ahead and hit one here. So I've got either a Max Vert that's got a little bit shorter shaft so I can control it, or you've choked down on your driver a little bit. You've got the right loft on it, maybe around 11 degrees I think is a good place to start for that swing speed. And I've got the ball a little bit forward. Let's go ahead and hit one. Ooh, best one of the day there. And by getting the right loft on the driver, less isn't better, maybe a little more is better, and getting the ball forward in the stance so I can hit up on it so I get the high launch all right, with the low spin. Now, let's talk about the third uncommon truth, whatever word you want to use here that we're talking about, and that is that distance is everything. Now, let me say this. If you have your name on your bag and you like to play the game for a living, well, one is you might not be, well, maybe you're watching this video. I hope you are, okay? If you're a tour pro and you're watching this video, that's awesome. But a lot of us, golf is recreation, okay? And if we were trying to play the game for a living, yes, you need to hit the ball 280, 290, 300, 310, whatever it is. But for most of you, I want you to think about this for a second. Think about the last time you're at the golf course, out playing around with your buddies or your girlfriends or some coworkers, and think about the big numbers that you made, okay? Typically, you made those big numbers because your driver was in the weeds, it was out of bounds, it was in a hazard, okay? It wasn't because you hit the ball too short. Very few people out there are making bogeys on par fours because they can't get to the green in two or get around the green in two. It's because their ball's lost, it's in the trees, it's in the hazard. So distance, is it important? Sure, it's an advantage, but what's most important for the average golfer, the experienced golfer, the people watching this video, why we're here at US Golf TV, get the ball in play. Get the ball in the fairway, okay? When the ball's in the fairway, you can score. So, you might be thinking, that's great, Todd, but how do I do that? Nick and I are gonna show you how to do that. He's looking at me like, hey, get to the point, give him the golf tip. So here we go. Let me give you the tip. This is one of my favorite tips. I've put this in some of my other videos. I believe the greatest golfer of all time was Jack Nicklaus, okay? Tiger Woods is right up there too. I don't know who you think, maybe put it in the comments right there. But one of the things that Jack did, and I suggest to all my golfers, is they hover the driver at address. Okay, so let me go ahead and show you how to do that. So when we're set in there, all right, they just keep the club hovering off the ground like that, okay? Now, from face on there, where Nick's got the camera, that's one of the reasons in the Max Avert, okay, we put the center strike spot. We've got it right here, okay? So that when you set that in there, they can tee it up so half the ball is above the top of the club head, right? But when they hover, the center strike spot right there, the center contact spot is right there. And when you hover it, that allows you to smooth out your transition, smooth out your takeaway, things like that. So let's tie this together. Number one is I may be choking down on the driver a little bit, or I've got a max vert that's a little bit shorter. I've got the right loft, okay? Get the right loft for your swing speed, and we've got the ball a little bit forward. Okay, so here we go, ball's a little forward. All right, I'm gonna hover like the great Jack Nicklaus. I'm just gonna make that nice little natural vertical line swing. Boom. Right there. Don't let the industry fool you. This game is not about longer, less loft, and distance. This game is about hitting the ball in the fairway. This game is about getting the club in your hands that's built for you, and it's about controlling the ball and getting the ball in the fairway. That's why you come to US Golf TV, because we want to give you the truth so you can play better golf.